What you've done for forever, yeah, may have worked for a while, but oh my God, there's so much joy on doing it in a different way, and it can get you different results. And I think that that's ultimately what you high achievers really struggle with, because you are so hard on yourself.
Hey, welcome back to the Accelerate Your Insurance Sales podcast. This is Andy Neary.
And welcome back to the Decide It's Your Turn podcast. This is Christina Lecuyer.
We're going to have a fun episode here. Do you think anybody's ever done a combined episode like that where it's literally 2 in 1?
Yeah, I think people do it all the time. They should do it all the time.
I feel like they typically do one, stop, and then they do the next one.
Yeah, I've seen people do it where they like put it out on both people's podcasts or whatever. I think it's just smarter to do it this way, because I don't know about you, but I always feel like, well, the reason why we're recording this podcast is last week you and I got into one of our coaching sessions and we're just like, shit, this should have been a podcast. Let's do it next week. So I feel like if we would do this podcast and then stop and then do the next one, yeah, we might get some gold in the next one, but I think we'll get so much gold in this one, we might as well put it on both.
Well, not only that, it's often just a repeated conversation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we repeat at last week's conversation.
Yeah, no kidding. That's why we're doing this. So quick level set for the audience listening in. So some of you may be aware or not, Christina Lecuyer is my business self-worth, get my head out of my ass coach that I work with every week, former pro golfer. And she and I were having a conversation last week on a regular Friday coaching session. We said, you know what, that should have been recorded. So we have made the decision to record this one as a podcast. Now, it's not going to be a true coaching session, but we're going to dive into a deep conversation. What would we say, Christina? A little bit about behind like the why we do what we do, and help people really at the end of the year here figure out what the hell their why is.
Yeah. And to give people a kind of a little 411 on my side of the podcast, Andy is officially my longest client ever. We are walking into, and I'm so blessed. Like, I actually have 4 clients who are very like right close behind you, but you are the longest client I have. We were walking into year 6 together, which is
it really?
Isn't that insane? Yeah.
Yeah, we met in 2018 at a mastermind, right?
Yeah, we met in like 17, 18, but we started working together the end of 2020. So we are walking into 2026. So coming up to 6 years next August. So yeah, just a hair over 5 years, whatever. But Andy has been my longest running client, and it has been an absolute blessing to be able to get to work with you. Not only just because we've become great friends and your success, but from where you were when we started. You were a W-2 employee when we started. And now to see where this company has gone and the why behind it and the struggles behind it and the highs and the lows of not only just the business, but your personal life as well. Obviously, I'm good friends with your wife, Amy. Like, it has just been such a journey. And so I'm excited for people to kind of hear like why someone would continue to like work together for like 5 or 6 years and like how the journey has been. And I think for me, it's so important to hold. You gave me very strict rules for what we were doing in 2026, which has always kind of been the rule.
We can talk about that for sure.
Okay, perfect. We need to talk about that, because I do feel like that has been kind of behind the scenes, whether you know it or not. That's exactly what I've been trying to help you with for the last 5 years.
Hands down, my biggest struggle over the last most of my life, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So where should we dive in?
Well, let's go back to when we started together.
Yeah.
Where were you when we started together? Because I think that this is so important to hear why you started this podcast or why you started this company.
Well, even the business. Yeah. So you and I met at Fast Foundations, which is was a mastermind dedicated to like early start entrepreneurs. Let's call it that. Right. And so Chris Harder, Lori Harder ran the mastermind, and I was there because I had the idea of growing this business, but I didn't quite know if I could do it, right? If I was the right fit. And I remember, even before I decided to start working with you, I remember Chris Harder. It was the first, because you and I part of 2 masterminds there?
We were together in 2 masterminds. Yeah.
I think it was the first one, the first live event we went to out in Santa Monica. And it was a celebratory dinner. Yep. And I was literally leaving, thanking Chris to go to the airport to go home. And I forget who was standing next to me, but he looked at both of us, but also felt like it was looking just at me. And he basically said, if you're going to do this, pardon my language, you need to quit being a pussy and think bigger.
Yeah.
And that was my first real like, whew, okay. And I needed people in my life like that who were going to challenge me to think bigger, because I grew up in a family, love them to death, but it wasn't like dream big, go, you can do anything you want. Right. And I needed people in my life to tell me not only to think bigger, but then hold my butt accountable to make sure I keep thinking bigger. And I think that was one of the reasons I reached out to you, was not only was I battling, the self-worth issues, which I think both you and I can resonate with, being former pro athletes.
Yep.
Because it's so easy to tie the sport, your worth, to your value in the sport. But I needed somebody to hold me accountable every week.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that, when you really started this, and I think this is important for your audience to hear, because this is one of the biggest riffs that we had last week, was you kind of talking about how you're so sick of the bullshit in the insurance industry, in the fact that like what you saw was not who you were. Like,
yep.
Like if anyone's watching this podcast right now, viewing this, Andy is a specimen. And I can say this because we're friends, but like, I know his wife, it is what it is. This guy walks the walk and talks the talk. And I think that's one of the reasons why you and I get along so well, is like, there's no bullshit here. Like, I am, who I show up as. I do the things that I say I'm going to do, as do you. And I think when you first started, you're like, this insurance industry is actually like the exact opposite of who I am. Like, I work out every single solitary day. I eat like a machine. Like, this guy literally is a machine, you guys. Like, I'm pretty good. This guy is like 10 out of 10. I'm like an 8.5 on my best days. But you operate like that. And you're like, I hate the way that this industry is going. And you're like, I know how to fix it. I know how to change this industry, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. It's a side note. Amy's caught the bug too, and now she might be becoming a better specimen than me. I'm getting a little nervous. So,
well, there you go.
Thanks for the compliments. But yeah, it's interesting. One of the things I always struggled with in the insurance industry is when you have an industry, and I'm sure there's others the same way, where it's a very low bar to entry. Insurance is a very low bar to entry, because all you got to do is pass an exam and make sure you don't have any felonies on your record so you can get licensed. It leads to bad behavior. And it's an industry that puts money on the pedestal. Mm-hmm. And I saw a lot of people who were being, how do I say this? People were almost being worshipped a little bit for their monetary success, but I saw how they took care of themselves, how they behaved. They were complete assholes, and nobody cared because they made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's messed up. And I would go to these conferences where I saw, it was a fire hose of information, because everybody's looking for the silver bullet to grow their business. And then when the day is done, you go out and you drink too much and eat like shit, and nobody works out, nobody takes care of themselves, because nobody cares. It's all about making money. I just got fed up with that. And I remember saying after one of these events, I was like, I want to build something where it's just the opposite. Where, we're going to talk about business. We're going to help you grow your business. But at the same time, we're going to equally help you make sure you are taking care of you. And, fast forward 2025 here, Complete Game Consulting, we're not quite there yet, as to what I want to add to the business here to make that part of what we do. But that was one of my missions, is I want to go build something where we can help insurance professionals be successful, but at the same time, be successful in all ways, not just in the act of selling insurance.
I think this is 100% one of the reasons why you and I have been together for 5 years. I have talked about ad nauseum, because I was in an industry, like, for those of you who do not know, like, I used to play professional golf, but really what I did, so like, I was not the best golfer in the world. And I learned very early on that I like a very high lifestyle, and I was not making good money as a professional golfer because I wasn't that good. You have to be like the top 50 in the world in order to actually be really like paid well as a female golfer. But what I was really good at was the human connection and the business connections on the golf course. And so fast forward, I did like $10,000 a day events for executive CEOs. And hence the reason why I switched into this. And like, that's really where I saw the fact that like so many people, like I was around billionaires. Like I have 3 billionaire phone numbers in my phone still to this day. Like I have billionaire, millionaire, multi-millionaires. But what I started to realize is that like that wasn't making people happy. And that's one of the reasons why I got into like the self-development and the personal development and the business world, is because I was like, oh my gosh, everything that I think I want is like literally not what I want. And so today with my clients, I'm like, yes, I want you to make FU good money. I want you to literally crush. However, I am never doing that with a client that makes it only about that, because that's not what life's about. There is wealthy, miserable people. My only goal is for you to be so in alignment with what you do, actually take care of yourself, actually enjoy your life, actually have the longevity. Oh yeah, and make money. And the thing that I've said to you 100 times is like, if we do the first few things right, honestly, the money just follows. Like that's it. Like it's so wild. And yet, so I think that's why we are so aligned, because like, yes, the money matters. I am a big fan of it. However, I am so much more obsessed with you actually enjoying your life and taking care of yourself and being able to like live the life that you're working so hard for. So many people are like, can't even walk or out of shape or like literally struggle to like get through the day. And that is just like, that's not living.
This episode is brought to you by True Captive Insurance. What if you could take full control of your healthcare strategy without the financial burdens of traditional insurance? At True Captive Insurance, they make that possible. As the only captive in the nation that puts up the majority of collateral on your behalf, they provide financial flexibility from day one, making them an advocating partner for their customer success. True Captive's fully customizable plans and cost-saving strategies ensure you never have to choose between affordability and quality care. It's time to break free from the limitations of conventional insurance. Take the next step today. Visit truecaptive.com and discover a smarter way to manage healthcare. That is truecaptive.com. Well, I've heard this said before, you know, if we're chasing everything else but letting our health slide, you can have 25 priorities every single day. The moment a health issue hits you, you only have one.
Absolutely.
Nothing. The moment you have a health issue, nothing else matters. So why not spend every day taking care of your health? And when Amy and I look at what we invest our money in, one of those buckets is our health. If people were to see what we spend on a monthly basis for, let's call it wellness, they probably like, what the hell? But it's because without that, we have nothing.
I guarantee you there's people that spend that amount of money on freaking fast food, alcohol, things that like totally do not serve them. And I'm not saying like Andy definitely, again, 10 out of 10 takes care of himself that way. I have a lot of fun. Like I'm even recording this podcast from Vegas. I will have cocktails. I will enjoy myself, but I will still do the things that I say that I'm going to do every single solitary day. I've never missed a walk in like 5 years. Like I eat relatively well. I sleep relatively well. I'm not telling you can't have any fun, because like that's not what it is. But it's also like, if you're absolutely right, even just this week, I had a sinus infection this week, and it was like life threatening to me, because like I have not been sick since way before COVID. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't get sick. Like this just not even an option for me. But you're right, like that's the only thing that matters. And I think that like your people need to realize that like you care so much about what you do because you care so much about their life, not just their.
And that goes back to the mission, you know, of what we're trying to do with Complete Game Consulting. Is one of the things I really try to stress, even to our own clients. And we have this issue with a couple in one of our programs, specifically the social media content done for you, where they're looking at us purely like a vendor. And it's always been my mission, be like, we're not just a vendor. We're a consultant. We're a strategist. We're so much more than hey, we post your content. But when I look at the business as a whole, it's the same thing. I don't want to just be known as a company that teaches people how to have success in the insurance industry. I want to be known as a company that teaches people how to have success in life. And I don't have it perfected. It's why I have to work with you every week, right? It's the self-worth and the mental battles I have in my head. But at the same time, yeah, it's not just about business success. It's what are you doing to have success in all areas of life? You know, I hosted a 2-day retreat this last summer with, was it about 5-6 clients that are also, I would consider, good friends, because I wanted to test this out and had really nothing to do with business. Yeah, we spent some time masterminding, but what we also spent a ton of time on is physical activity. We had everybody go through their what we call the life balance sheets, where they had to measure all areas of their life. And it was a very eye-opening experience for some of them. But for me, it was a good litmus test to be like, is this something that executives and sales leaders within the insurance industry would find valuable? And I think I got a very clear answer. Yes.
The answer is yes, 150%. One of the things that you and I have talked about ad nauseum is really trusting yourself. Obviously, like that's ultimately what I do with my clients as a consultant, coach, whatever you want to call me. My only job, really, my only job is to help you stay super clear on what you already know. And then just help you battle through all of the reasons why it is or why it isn't going to work and hold you accountable to doing it. If I do that with every single one of my clients, no matter what it is, whether it be personal, whether it be professional, whether it be, involve family, money, business, employees, whatever the hell, it doesn't matter. If I can do that, you'll win, period, hands down. And I think the thing that you and I have been talking about, like we have for years, but really more so now, is really helping you see that, Andy, yes, that is it. That is what sets you apart in this industry. Yes, you're the best at teaching people how to market themselves and brand themselves. But also, the thing that sets you apart in this industry is exactly that. Adding more Andy. I've told you this for years. That is what people are actually buying.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have probably held off too much with content, for example, where I've kept 95% of our content to business, right? Yep. And you've pushed me and encouraged me to show more of my life within the content of what I do outside the lines. And I think that's going to be a big goal for 2026, because it's more than business, right? And we do business with people like us. And so I think my goal next year is to take that up a notch. And, as we target the executives and the sales leaders that we do, it's really to create that community of men and women who are like that as well, who are students of the game, not just insurance. I call it the students of the game of life. That's who we're trying to attract in our world.
100%.
And I've always said one of the things I'm most proud about with our branding as a company is we attract good people and we detract assholes. Assholes don't want to do business with me, and I absolutely love that. And so I'd be curious on your end, because you get to work with a lot of people like me, right? Mm-hmm. And in my audience is a bunch of driven executives and leaders and people who are achieving. Where do you see, why is it so many of these type of achievers struggle with self-worth?
I think it ultimately comes down to you guys are like really, really hard on yourself. I have a lot of clients very, very, very similar to you. I have a husband who's very, very similar to you. Andy and my husband have become pretty good friends over the years, and my husband's very, very successful as well. And it's not, sometimes I think it's a self-worth thing, but sometimes I also think it's that perfectionism thing. Mm-hmm. The reason why you were a standout athlete, played Major League Baseball, the reason why I was, played professional golf, why a lot of my clients have had success in, athletics or military or whatever it is. Those are the type of people who actually are really successful. I love to get to work with because you have a standard. Like that standard is extremely high. Mm-hmm. And I think you beat yourself up when you don't hit that standard. And I think that that's a double-edged sword. I called it the back of the hand. Sometimes like your greatest strength is your greatest weakness. Mm-hmm. And it's a blessing in so many regards. Like it's how you've been as successful as you are. But I also think it's to a detriment. And one of the things that I have always talked about from the beginning of my career is the fact that, what I really help people do is change those stories, patterns, and habits. And a lot of times, what has got you here will not get you to the next level. And I think a lot of times we just have to reprogram, and it's hard. Reprogramming anything is hard. If you believe that, I use a silly analogy, but if you believe Christmas is supposed to be turkey and presents on Christmas morning, and you marry into a family that does ham and presents on Christmas Eve, you're just like, what in the hell is happening? But that's true. Like, in your reality, you have had it painted one way, and to change it to another way is really hard. But also there's a lot of like goodness in changing it to a different way. Maybe you can actually be like, oh my God, this way was actually 1,000 times better. And it's the same thing in business. And it's the same thing in life. What you've done for forever, may have worked for a while, but oh my God, there's so much joy on doing it in a different way. And it can get you different results. And I think that that's ultimately what you high achievers really struggle with, because you are so hard on yourself, and letting go and having that like trust. And you and I have talked a lot about it. Obviously, you don't talk a ton about it on your social media, but I do. And God for me is a really big deal. And I rely that to my clients, quite often. Faith is a really big thing. And sometimes I just have to like slap my clients and say, listen, you're trying to play God right now, and that's not your friggin' job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I was thinking about where a lot of these folks struggle. You talked about people, the excuse of it's just who I am. And I think where probably one of the biggest areas of help you've been is, coming from a background where, hey, just make enough money to put food on the table. And that constant, I heard that constant phrase, we don't do things like that, right? We can't afford that, or whatever it is, right? These self-limiting beliefs. When you now have the opportunity to create your own freedom, typically it's going to be this between your ears that keeps you from hitting it, right? And it's that constant, you have to constantly remind yourself that, no, I am good enough to have this. I am strong enough to take my business to this next level, right? It's those self-beliefs we've had that it's so easy to use them as the crutch. Well, that's just who I am. Great. It doesn't mean you can't change.
150%.
And I say that because we coach a lot of people, and there's a lot of people listening to this right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a change of scenery. It is not your boss. It is not your list of prospects. It's the shit going between your ears right now. You are the only thing holding you back from going to the next level.
Absolutely, 100%, zero doubts in my mind. If you knew my whole entire story, my 180 in my life, I promise you, I was a person who was like literally on the verge of like not even wanting my life to continue. And I sit here today at 43 years old saying I literally have the greatest life ever. And how that happened is I decided it. And I decided every single solitary day. There is nobody on the planet that I can blame for any situation. We all have shit. We all have bad things happen. We all have crap. No matter if you have $1 billion in the bank or you've got $2 in the bank, we all have shit. I don't care where you came from. I don't care what you look like. I'm very tough when it comes to like, we live in a very soft society, in my opinion. I'm kind of a too back of the hand type of girl with you guys. Like, I love my clients. I can be soft with you guys, but then I can also be like, are you kidding me? Like, there is nothing that you can't do. And it has everything to do with what you believe, what actions you take, what decisions you make. There's nothing that you can't do. And it all comes down to a decision. And there's not one person on the planet to blame. And you have to take personal responsibility. You are it.
Yeah, I just delivered a virtual keynote yesterday. It was more like a pep talk.
Nice.
A client that I worked with last year was having their final sales meeting of the year, and they have about 100 producers in the region. So he asked me to come on and kind of light some fire under some people's asses. And one of the core messages I was delivering, this is an organization that just got acquired by another organization. So a lot of uncertainty, right? So what's happening is a lot of these people, because of the uncertainty, is they're paralyzed. They're sitting on the sidelines.
Ugh.
And my message was, guys, in times of uncertainty, the only things you can control are your mindset, your attitude, and your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me think about going back to when I decided to hire you. Remember, I hired you in the middle of the pandemic.
Yep.
You want to talk about uncertainty, right? And I still remember the moment I made that decision. It was at the moment I had the least amount of money, quite frankly, to probably do what I did. But I said, the only thing I can control right now is my actions, my attitude, my mindset, which is what led me to invest money I did not have to hire people like you, rejoin Chris's mastermind, all the things I knew that was going to help me take this business to the next level. And that at that time, get the business off the ground. And I share that because would you agree, Christina, there's so many people out there that are saying, well, I'll do it when.
It is literally.
I'll hire a coach when. That when isn't coming because you are constantly sitting on the sidelines.
Okay, we're sitting here at the end of the year. Do you know how many people wait until like a Monday or January 1st or whatever? I'm like, you can decide. My podcast is called Decide It's Your Turn. You can decide it's your turn on a Tuesday at 12:15, like any month of the year. Like it literally is up to you. There's not a Monday. There's no one coming to save you. There's not going to be everyone who pays me. Like it's very like, now don't get me wrong. I have a lot of clients that, have more than enough money to be able to pay me. However, it's most people just are not have like a pile of money beside them just going, well, what am I going to spend this on today? No, it's an investment. It's an investment in you. And when you pay attention. I have said this for years. I've done the exact same shit. You were with me, like you and I knew each other when I did a live event, literally in 2019. I had coming out of, a golf career. I had no followers. I literally put down $50,000 to do this event with a partner. She pulled out 12 days in, and I literally had to figure out how to get the next $50,000. And it was the most stressful 4.5 months of my whole entire life. But I will tell you, I lost my ass. I literally did not make a dollar. However, I will say that was the best 4 months of my life because it pushed me to the absolute limits. And obviously I've made that money up times 5, 10, whatever.
As you've taught me, you'll always make it back.
Always will make it back. If you bet on yourself, like there's nothing on the planet that I won't do. Like I literally am my best bet. Like, and will you lose money? Yes. Will you fail? Absolutely. Are you going to have some shitty investments? Oh my God, I paid a coach. Worst investment ever. I was basically coaching him by the time it was all over, but you learned something from it. You need skin in the game. Like it's a non-negotiable. If you want to be the best, you better do those things that the best type of people do.
Yep. Think about your sports career.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of money you probably invested, right, to get to where you got.
Mm-hmm.
Did you wait until you had all the money in the world to invest it? Did you only invest it if it guaranteed you were going to win a tournament? And did you go into playing pro golf having zero belief in your abilities? No. And I share that because if you want to know a hard truth, folks, the reason you may feel like you are not where you're supposed to be right now, and you're looking up at other people who are kicking ass, those people you're looking up to invest no matter what, even when they don't have the money. They invest knowing there's no guaranteed ROI. And they do it because they believe in themselves.
And they'll learn a lesson.
If you want to know why you're not having success right now, it's because you're waiting for the perfect time to invest. You're expecting a guaranteed return to do it. And right now you don't believe you can actually do it. Hate to tell you the hard truth, but that is a fact.
So there's something that Andy has told me about the insurance industry that just like boggles my mind. So like, and it boggles my mind, but it shouldn't. Like, I'm not this naive and stupid that like, I get it. But like, I have heard from you ad nauseum how you say like that there's certain people that come to you and they say, well, yeah, I'd like to join this, but I'm like going to ask my company to
I'll see if my boss will pay for it. Yep.
I'll see if my boss will pay for it. You guys, I swear to God, I almost have a coronary every time I hear this. Because
that is the first trigger, by the way. So we have trigger questions or trigger comments we hear in our sales calls that tell me they're not a fit. That's number one. When I hear you say I'm going to see if my boss will pay for it, I'm going, yep, you're not a fit.
Not a fit. I'm like, no, Andy, this is not your client. This is not your client.
Yep.
Literally, the people who are your clients who are like, you know what? I have absolutely no money, but I'm going to figure this out. Let me sign this contract and figure it out. I literally had a woman going bankrupt one time. And I swear to you, this is a hand on the Bible truth. Her company was going bankrupt. And she's like, I 100% need you. I don't know how I'm going to figure this out. And she was a strong woman of faith. And you know what happened? She signed the contract. And this is hand on the Bible, the truth. I can tell you her name. Her name is Julianne, and hand on the Bible, the truth. She signed the contract. 3 weeks later, she got like almost double what my like investment was back in a tax check that she had no idea was coming. You know? Yeah.
So I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Please.
I was just thinking, going back to that conversation of will my boss pay for it? It's funny because it is one of the most common, probably, I don't want to call it, it's an objection. They may not feel like it is, but it's an objection. And when I hear that, I'll say, so if he or she says no, are you going to still do it?
Great question.
And I've had people say probably not. And I'm like, so how can you tell me you're driven to solve this problem when it requires somebody else to pay for you?
I know. Are you 15? Like, are you waiting for your parents to give you money, like for gas? Like, no, it's wild. But, I think that honestly, the people that I love getting to work with, and I know you do too, are like the people who have had a hustle in their whole lives. Like, I mean, I remember I grew up on a golf course. So I didn't start playing golf till I was 18, but I grew up on it. My dad was a golf pro, and I literally, like, our house was on the golf course. Like, I literally walked out the door and I was on the golf course. And I remember since a little kid, I was like cleaning clubs and like washing balls and like picking people's clubs up out of their car. And honestly, this is not an exaggeration. You can ask my parents, like 6 or 7 years old, because I'm always a little hustler. Like, I've always just been like, I will figure this out. I'm like, I can't have $1 to go to the store. How do I earn that dollar? How do I figure, like, find a way to yes is one of my absolute favorite quotes. Like, I will find a way to yes for anything. No is just a starting point. Bethany Frankel uses that, and I really like her. But no is just a starting point to find a way to yes. And those are the type of people who are going to have success. They'll figure it out. Yeah, you guys are going to figure it out. Like, you have to have a little bit of like, I don't know. Like, I think you have to have a bit of grind. You have to have a bit of, grit. Like, I think that maybe that's the right word. I don't know.
Well, I think, I'm as you're talking, I'm sitting here going, okay, this episode is going live right around Christmas, right?
Yes.
So there are a lot of people right now who are looking ahead at 2026. They're setting big goals, right? They're getting their plans ready to have success, no matter what industry it is. In your industry, your business, it could be any kind of entrepreneur. In mine, it's insurance. Yeah. I think what we're really talking about here, Christina, is, do you believe in yourself? At the end of the day, the reason I meet with you every Friday morning is I struggle from time to time with self-worth and belief. Mm-hmm. Hence why I need you to kick my ass every 7 days to remind me that, no, you're good enough to have this. You're good enough to have the success. You're good enough to build a business. So I guess the question I pose to the audience is, as you set these lofty goals for next year, do you actually believe you can hit them? Okay. So are you willing to commit whatever it takes to hit them? Don't be half pregnant.
I think that's the problem though, Andy, is because I know there's so many people in your audience that doubt themselves. There's Correct. So many people in your audience who literally lie to themselves every single day. So I was listening to a podcast. It was kind of funny. I listened to this podcast called The His and Her Show. Maybe some of your audience know it. It's like, I really like it. And they had this guy on there who's a guy who dresses like a girl. His name is Jeffree Star. Didn't know who he was. But he's got like 6 or 7 million followers. I actually really like him, believe it or not. Like, he seems like a really cool, put together, hard hustling type of person. And he said something on the podcast, and he didn't have the answer to it. He said, people ask me all the time how I'm so confident. And he goes, I just don't know. And I wish I could just pop in live on that podcast and be like, I know exactly why you're so fucking confident. It's because every single day you wake up and do the things that you say you're going to do. Confidence is a muscle, guys. Confidence, guys and gals, confidence is a muscle. The reason why Andy can get up every single solitary day and do the things that he says he's going to do, even if he has some self-worth, like stuttering here and there, is because he knows that he's going to show up to do the things. He says he's going to work out. He's going to work out. He says he's going to work 10 hours a day and get a project done. He's going to work 10 hours a day and get a project done. Like, that is how you build confidence, guys. You keep promises to yourself. You do the small things every single solitary day. It's not rocket science, but man, does it take work.
I think what you just explained it better than I ever could, because it is, behind me, you got the words consistency, persistency, and patience, but consistency creates confidence, right? And part of that is just doing what you say you're going to do. One of the things I see in the insurance in our clients and the people we work with that, quite frankly, blows me away is how many of them don't even follow their calendar. And want to know why you're struggling with belief and confidence and consistency? Because you're literally creating a game plan you don't follow. And so you want to build confidence, just do what you say you're going to do, whether that's for a client or for yourself or for your family. Just show up and do what you say you're going to do. And that in itself is going to breed the confidence you need to be consistent. And that's what leads to success.
150%. Andy, you and I have been doing this over 5 years now, or a little over 5 years. How many calls have you or I ever canceled?
Nope.
None.
Maybe one due to an unforeseen emergency,
totally.
But other than that, none.
Never. It is I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm dressed. I'm like,
you're out on the Pacific Coast right now. It's what is it? 6:53?
Yeah. But it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The thing is if I say jump, or if you say jump, I say how high. You do the exact same thing. Do you know how many people walk around and just don't friggin' do that? Like, that one thing will change your life.
It's probably the one thing I struggle with the most from a frustration standpoint with our own book of business is when we have a scheduled call on the calendar with a client and they don't show and they go, I forgot we had it. I'm like, it's on your calendar. You freaking accepted it. How do you not know this call was there? That is, and it's not me being mad at them. It's me being mad at them for themselves. Like, you're not showing up for yourself.
You're still getting a paycheck. I'm still getting a paycheck whether you show up or not.
That's fine. But you're not showing up for yourself. And you want to know why you're not hitting your goddamn goals? You're not showing up. I don't know what else to say to people who constantly complain about where they are because they're not happy with where they are. They're not hitting their goals. They're not leading the life they want. They're not as healthy as they want to be. You're not showing up for yourself.
It's you. You're the problem.
Every time you point a finger, there's 3 looking back at you.
I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but that song, like, The Problem, It's Me, I'm the Problem, It's Me, is 100% one of the best songs because it's 100% the truth. But one of the things that I don't think that we've talked about, Andy, and I think this really matters. I do have to
start to put a bow on it. I got a workshop I got to jump on here soon.
Okay. But one thing I want people we could do this for 17 hours. We just are so passionate about it. But one last thing I think really matters, and I want people to really kind of sit with it after you listen to this podcast. Reach out to Andy, reach out to me, whatever you need to do. I want you to understand the thing that is really kind of differentiating why Andy and I can show up, never miss a call, hold ourselves accountable, invest tens of thousands of dollars, is because we actually enjoy it. And I really actually want you to think about, do you actually enjoy what you do? I'm obsessed, and Andy is too. And it's possible for you, like, absolutely fucking obsessed. If you hate what you do, permission that you don't need from me, quit and go do something that you love to do, that you can be obsessed with when it sucks.
Yep. Yeah. That would be kind of one of my lasting messages here. I know Christina, some people might feel like we've just been rambling for the last 40 minutes, but
loved it.
It is to light a fire under people's ass right now. If you're sitting there with a few days to go here in 2025, and you're assessing next year, and one of those assessments is, do I even like what I do? There's no failure in saying, I'm going to go do something else.
Yep.
I come from the insurance industry. Again, most of us didn't get in it by design. So we were sold the dream of money and playing golf 3 days a week. There's a lot of people who sell something they hate, they don't like. Get out. But if you do like what you do and you're not happy with where you're at, you've got to look in the mirror before you do anything else.
Amen.
And ask yourself, are you showing up every day for you? Are you honoring the commitments you've made to yourself? Because if you're not, how the hell are you going to do it for anybody else?
Amen. Preach. All the things. I know Andy, he's got to stick to his calendar. He's got 3 minutes before his next call. But
I can show up a little late because it's a group workshop. I'm just an attendee, so I can kind of sneak in.
Perfect.
So we should probably be good.
Okay, perfect. But all of that to be said, I think that that's a really kind of a, where the rubber meets the road question for yourself. If you hate what you're doing, you guys, there's a million other things. I was a walking example of that. I had a dream life. I was playing professional golf, getting paid $10,000 a day. I had modeling deals, all the things. I was absolutely miserable. And today I sit here coaching clients, and I'm not telling you it's a cakewalk every single day, but at the end of the day, this is the only thing on the planet I want to do. And I'm obsessed with it. I'm willing to do whatever it fucking takes because I love it that much. And that's why I can show up. That's why Andy can show up to doing what he do. I know him inside and out after 5-something years. He's obsessed with you guys. He's obsessed with the work that he does. And that's how he can consistently show up. So.
Well, and I'll finish by saying, to that point, it's about non-negotiables. Mm-hmm. You want to have success next year, create non-negotiables in your life and just show up. And if you're a sales leader, agency executive tuning in, please share this with your team.
Please.
We'd love to grow our audience, but two, you probably have a lot of producers who need to hear this right now because they're in that place of either not believing in themselves, some maybe even considering a new career. We wanted to use this episode to light a little fire under those who need it to go into next year. We want you to break records next year, but it's got to start with you believing in yourself and showing up for yourself.
Absolutely. And let us know if you guys want us to do one of these, every quarter or something like that. We're happy to do it. Obviously, we could do this for another,
Maybe we can go do combined keynotes.
Yes. Oh my God. So fun. Andy will have the ponytail. His hair will be longer than mine.
I had a client tell me he would never hire me because of my man bun. So we'll leave it at that.
That is so hilarious. And I'm the person who tells Andy, if you cut that thing, if you change who you are, I'm going to kill you. At this point,
it'd be like Samson losing his strength. I can't do it.
You can't do it. It's who you are. I think that's like a big thing too, guys.
It's showing up as who you are. Right?
Showing up as who you are. You just heard, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, cuss and talk about God. You heard a guy over here with pipes coming out of his Baby Gap shirt and a ponytail. I mean, it's who we are. I mean, it looks great on you. I'm saying it is what it is.
Really? Wow. That's what we'll end this episode on. All right, folks, have a beautiful holiday. Happy New Year. And let's wake up on the flip side, ready to take on the world.
Thanks so much for doing this, you guys. Be sure to go follow Andy over on LinkedIn. If you know anyone in the insurance industry, you need to know.
And if you're in my audience, go follow Christina's podcast, Decide It's Your Turn, and check her out on Instagram.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Be good. That's all we got for this episode of the Accelerate Your Insurance Sales Podcast. One of the most valuable things you can do to help us and other new potential listeners find our show is for you to rate the show and leave a review. So as a special bonus for you, if you leave us a review, take a screenshot of your review and send it to me as a DM to my LinkedIn profile. I will send you a free copy of our LinkedIn Diamond Playbook, our proven 4-step strategy to grow your business on LinkedIn. So go right now, leave us a review, screenshot it, and send me a DM on LinkedIn. Also, please share this podcast with anyone you think would enjoy it. That's it for now.